Thanks for tuning in to YouSeeMe, focusing on the battle of self-love, acceptance, abuse, spirituality, and much more. Your host, Tina Wynn, will be sharing various ways and strategies that she used to overcome grief, addiction, and depression. YouSeeMe is a self-expressed term Tina uses as a way of making people see the real you. For people to see you, you must first see yourself.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of You See Me. I am your host Tina Wynn, and once again we have with us Shantae Green. On our last episode, me and Shantae dived into relationships, and out of that conversation it led us to boundaries. So I would like to welcome Shantae by asking a question. What boundaries are we setting for ourselves, and what boundaries do we set for others?
Well, the boundaries that I set for myself, I would have to say, would have to be assertive and not too nice, to be as myself as possible, but not too much. And when I say too much, I mean by not giving people more rope than I should.
So how do we not give people more rope than what we should? See, because the purpose of setting a boundary is so you are not making impulsive decisions. See, Tina, my self-boundary is if I'm doing something for someone, it has to truly be from my heart or I can't do it. See, Quita used to do things for others that went completely against what I felt or think. And remember, our feelings control our thoughts, and our thoughts turn to action. So my boundary for others is to make my no mean no and my yes mean yes. So I know the next question that I'm going to ask you, I already foreknow the answer, but I want to hear it anyway. If I was to call you to see, my thing is this. Let me backtrack. When I set a boundary for myself, and what I mean by my no means no and my yes means yes, I don't loan money that I can't afford to lose. So that means I don't care who you are or what you're calling me for or why you're calling me. My answer is no. That is a boundary that I have for myself. Why? Because if I bend for one, I'm going to bend for multiple. So when you set a boundary, you yourself have to uphold that boundary. You can't expect someone else to uphold it if you don't. So now my question to you is, if a close friend of yours came and asked you for money, and you just set a boundary that you don't loan money, are you going to give that close friend that money?
Absolutely not.
And why is that?
I'm going to do that because I set the boundary already, saying that I wasn't going to let anyone borrow money, and I'm not going to just say yes for Tracy and say no for Sarah. It's not. Whatever I say, it's like, for instance, whatever relationship that I'm having, I want the boundaries are the limits that I'm placing on the relationship so that the relationship doesn't go sour. So if I'm going to set a boundary,
exactly where I was leading, so that the relationship does not go sour. See, when we enter into a relationship with someone, we are already entering into an agreement. And a boundary also an agreement. When we bend, we lack consistency in our boundaries. See, consistency helps develop self-control. You must learn how to see yourself to control yourself. If you can't see yourself, then that means you don't know what's coming at you and you're making impulsive decisions. So what happens when you don't practice consistency?
When I don't practice consistency, that's when I revert back to old habits that were not good for my future, not good for me. It could have possibly ended me up in places that I wouldn't want to be in.
So my thing is, if we do not continually do the things that we've done, we won't get what we've got. Exactly what Shantae just said. She will revert back to the old heart. And I'm going to share with you guys and with Shantae a little story. See, initially when me and Shantae started this, we were having a little bit of procrastination issues. And out of that procrastination that was being presented to Tina and Quita came consistency with Tina. See, Shantae's procrastination made me consistently keep calling her because I saw it. I had to see her to see me. I saw something in her that I once did. And it took me having to see, when we show up for others, we showing up for ourselves. By me showing up for her forces her to show up for me. So it keeps us both consistent and it eliminates the procrastination. You get that?
Yes.
Had I not continually called you, what would you have done?
I wouldn't have stuck to the deadlines. I would have just done all the things that I was already doing, and with that I mean working on myself. I would have done that and done what I was supposed to do as far as this show, but it wouldn't have been as Shantae as it should have been. So by you calling me and by you reminding me and by us having the conversations that we would normally have, like we've done in the past, along with praying, along with reminding me, along with us sharing our character defects, all it did was help me with the number one character defect that I've been trying my hardest to get under control. And with that, it's literally what you just said. It's literally procrastination. That's my biggest character defect. And it's been that way since high school.
We have to learn to show up for ourselves. And that is the number one thing that us as people lack. We don't see ourselves, so we don't know how to show up for ourselves. We procrastinate, we make excuses, we find excuses. When you can get to a point in your life where you say, okay, well, these are my choices. Choices, guys, remember our choices episode. These are my choices. You own them. No one else owns your choices but you. So if you choose to lay in bed and sleep and that job passes you by, you can't complain later on. If you choose to set a time with someone and you negate to keep that time, that's on you. Everything that you say must match what you do. Remember, making your walk match your talk. See, when you consistent with yourself, it makes you more authentic with others. See, Quita got into a situation with one of her clients the other day, and she almost acted out. But because Tina is consistent and not acting a rabbit fool with people, I used my tools, I started to plan, and I made a choice to be consistent. And in my consistency, my boundary is to not let people push my buttons. See, I have a boundary within myself, and I set this boundary everywhere and anywhere I go, which means the instant that I feel something about to go left, I remove myself. I regroup, I start planning, I start using my tools. And this is a consistent practice. The minute that we stop being consistent with ourselves, we stop being consistent with others, and everything falls apart. So how is Shantae going to be consistent?
I'm going to be consistent by sticking to deadlines. I'm going to be consistent by continuing to better myself. I'm going to remain consistent by staying in contact with you and all the other support systems that I have that are positive, and also be consistent to my children. I've made a lot of changes in my life, and prior to my change, the procrastination that I had within myself affected pretty much every relationship that I've had in different ways. And the one that I'm more concerned with out of all is the relationship between me and my 6 children.
So I have to stop you, and before you can have a relationship with anybody, a healthy relationship with anybody, you must first gain a relationship with Shantae. You must fully see Shantae. Until Shantae fully works on Shantae and get Shantae and can see Shantae, you're not going to be able to see nobody else. Because every time you go into a situation, you're going to see the situation. You're not going to see yourself in that situation. And a lot of times we deal with things and we deal with people without seeing ourselves. We can point out a character defect. We can point out a flaw. We can point out a fault in everybody but ourselves. And that's because we refuse to see ourselves. And a lot of times we don't want to see ourselves because the way we see ourselves is not what people have put in our mind that we should be.
Sure.
So I have a task that I want to work on with you, which is before you start repairing and before you start rebuilding, let's repair and rebuild Shantae. Let's start at the root of getting Shantae back to Shantae. See, because without a clear, concise plan and organization of who you are, you're going to go into situations rationally, and they're not going to be handled accordingly. See, right now you're trying to rebuild relationships because you're in a comfortable space with you. But when something arises, okay, let's say you go for your children and their dad decides that he's going to show up. How are you going to deal with that? Are you going to take it out on the children, or are you going to be able to handle the situation, seeing yourself in the situation? Because you have a part to play there as well.
I would definitely behave and deal with the situation appropriately, because after all, I'm doing this for the betterment of my children. If he decides to show up, I wouldn't look at that as a problem. I would look at it as, this is my children, mother and father in the same place, and all of us are here at the same time. I'm going to do whatever I can on my end to make sure that this is a moment that my child or my children can remember, and it be a good memory.
So can I say something else? And I want my audience to follow what it is that I'm trying to get you to see and to accept. You keep saying you're doing this for your children. What about Shantae?
Okay, what about Shantae? For a long time, Shantae was very selfish. I am my father's first child. I'm my mother's second child, but her first daughter. I did not hear the word no very much. And when I did, I had a problem with it because I wasn't used to hearing it. So it's not about Shantae really anymore. I'm going to love Shantae and give Shantae the self-care and love that she needs, but I was getting that from my whole village. I was not giving that from me to my children personally. So therefore, it's my duty to give that back to them. Shantae has more than enough love. Shantae has more than enough people that love her. Shantae has more than enough people to build herself.
Hold on. Because I hear something very critical, and I'm not sure if everyone else is hearing it. I'm hearing all the people in your life who has given love, who you have given love. And I'm going to keep stopping you and keep bringing you back to you. I don't care about who else is giving you love. Let's eliminate your children. Let's eliminate the family. Let's eliminate the friends. Will you be able to stand alone? If God came today and said, you know what, I'm taking her kids away, I'm taking her family away, I'm taking everybody who ever loved her away, would you still be able to love Shantae? My thing is this: if God takes my child, it's going to hurt me. But if that's his will, so let it be. See, I am so consistent and so faithful and trust my faith so much so that no matter what comes my way, it does not wither who Tina is. See, situations can't bend me this way and pull me that way and make me be this way. I am consistent on who I am. I love who I am. I don't love who I am because my mother loved me. I don't love who I am because this one poured into me. I don't love who I am because my child shows me love, or my husband shows me love, or people in my community shows me love. I love who I am because I am who I am, and I see who I am. And without me loving me, I can't even embrace the love that everyone else is displaying or showing or pouring upon me, because it may not be the same type of love that I'm showing myself. See, when we don't know how to show ourselves love, we take any love that anybody presents to us and we label it as love. How do you know that that's truly love until you fully love yourself, have a boundary within yourself, are consistent with yourself? See, if somebody came to me telling me that they love me, but every chance that they got, they're using me, they're talking about me, I love myself enough to know, wait a minute, this is not the love that I want for me. This is the love you're presenting to me, but this is not the way I want love for myself. You get what I'm saying? Can Shantae stand alone without anyone loving her?
Yes, I did it recently and in the past. It's never been an issue. Like up until recently, like in the last 4 or 5 years, I don't think it's really been an issue. Or maybe, I don't know, I don't want to say the wrong thing. All I know is that I'm working on myself, and whatever it takes for me to love myself and get to where I need to be as a woman, I'm going to do that. So if it takes me being on top of me, or somebody else being on top of me constantly, which can be very annoying to me, by the way, I will take that. I will take that, and you know what I will do? I will sit in that, and I will sit in it until the uncomfortable becomes comfortable.
And you know what? Out of uncomfortability becomes change. The only time we change something about ourselves or change something about our situations is when we become uncomfortable. If you are comfortable and complacent where you at, what's going to motivate you to change from where you at? And Shantae said something critical. She is willing. See, in order for this process to work, you have to be willing. You have to have an open mind and a made-up heart that no matter what it takes and what you have to go through, you're going to put you first. You are going to see you, and you are going to see someone else to help you see you. So I would like for us to end this episode by requesting for Shantae to go out and to see someone. I want for her to be able to see someone and see herself. And in doing so, I want her to bring that person to the show with her. And I want her to tell me how the experience went. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Shantae, for allowing me and allowing the world to see you, to hear you, and to go through this journey of seeing yourself with you. Thank you guys. Join us again.